Bulgaria and Romania, two Balkan countries known for their millennium-long histories, similar way of life, shared traditions and folklore, and common Orthodox faith have stood at the cultural crossroads of the East and West since ancient times. Today, their numerous prehistoric settlements, ancient tombs, Roman cities, Byzantine and medieval fortresses, Christian basilicas, medieval and national revival monasteries make them popular cultural and religious tourist destinations. Our tour will start with a visit to the old Bulgarian capital of Veliko Tърново, whose history goes back thousands of years. Today, the city boasts a stylish mix of medieval, revival, and modern architecture. Fortresses and Orthodox churches, family homes and water fountains harmoniously coexist in the authentic ambience and comfort of traditional Bulgarian restaurants, cobblestone streets, antique and souvenir shops, welcomingly tucked in the streets of the old part of the city. The feeling of warmth is enhanced by magnificent views of Saravet's fortress and Trapezitsa Hill, which can be seen from nearly every corner. From the foot of the northern slope of Saravet's Hill, we get a glimpse of the majestic church of Saints Peter and Paul the Apostles. It is home to unique 13th century frescoes that make it one of the most beautiful churches in the region. Another remnant of the same period is the Church of the Holy 40 Martyrs, which is the city's most well-known Christian monument. It is home to some of Bulgaria's most significant historical records. Khan Omurtag's column and its inscription, excavated during the Bulgarian Khan Omurtag in 822, Tsar Asen's column from 13th century, and the border column of Rodosto fortress from the time of the Bulgarian medieval ruler from the 9th century, Khan Krum. These old objects tell of the country's great and glorious history. The inscription on Asen's column commemorates the great victory of the Bulgarians of 1230 in the Battle of Klokodnitsa against Theodore Komnenos, despot of Epirus. After this remarkable event, the Bulgarian state emerged as the most powerful one in the Balkans. In the old centre of the city, we will stop at the church of Saint Demetrius of Thessaloniki. Here, in 1185, the nobles Asen and Peter proclaimed the uprising that ended the Byzantine rule. This outstanding event led to the restoration of the Bulgarian Empire and the proclamation of Târnovo for its capital. Next, we will visit the Cathedral of the Nativity of the Theotokos in the old part of Veliko Tърново, which is one of the most magnificent buildings in the city. Its splendour comes from its doors, elliptical windows and vaults, creating a sense of true harmony and symmetry. Not far from Veliko Tърново lies the quaint archaeological reserve of Arbaнаси. In the 17th century, its eminent merchants traded all through the Ottoman Empire. Today, numerous affluent and magnificent homes, public buildings and churches testify to the beauty of Arbaнаси. The Church of the Nativity of Christ is the oldest here, and the all-female monastery of the Dormition of the Theotokos, near the entrance to the village, evokes painful memories of the Ottoman invasion. In Bulgaria, the valley of the Rusensky Lom River, situated some 10 kilometers from the city of Ruse, is home to the cave monastery of St. Demetrius of Basarbovo. Built in the 13th century during the time of the Second Bulgarian Empire, it became famous after the death of St. Demetrius of Basarbovo, a shepherd who in the 17th century led an ascetic life in the rocks housing today's monastery. At the end of his life, he lay between two stones and died, but his body was swamped by the river and his relics were lost. The story goes that the saint appeared in the dream of a blind girl from the neighbouring village, telling her of his body lying in the river. When it was eventually discovered, his relics turned out to be imperishable and fragrant, and the girl was able to see again. Our trip will continue to Ruse, Bulgaria's biggest Danubian city. Dubbed Ruschuk during the Ottoman rule, the city was one of the empire's major centres. Today it is also known as Little Vienna because of its majestic architecture and interiors. An impressive landmark here is the Cathedral of the Holy Trinity. It is the oldest church in the city, built in the distant 1632. This holy place is home to a miraculous icon of the Theotokos and the relics of some Orthodox saints, which attract many Christian pilgrims. The Romanian leg of our tour will start with a visit to Brancoveni Monastery, some 20 kilometers from the city of Slatina in Olt County. Its founding date is lost back in time. However, according to historical records, its architectural ensemble was built by the Brancoveni boyars in the early 16th century. The legend goes that having been healed by the spring water that can still be found here today, the Wallachian prince Matei Basarab restored the monastery and built a complex fortification system. The remains of those times include a bell tower, spacious arched cellars, and a wall of battlements. The great church, built between 1699 and 1700 in the Brancovanesque style, with a cruciform ground plan, an open narthex, and supported by 8 stone columns in the centre, is an impressive architectural achievement. Our tour will end in the cosy university city of Craiova. Dozens of archaeological finds testify to its rich and glorious past. While the impressive architecture of the Christian churches of Mantuleasa, St. Demetrius and Madonna Dudu ranks them among Romania's most fascinating and majestic buildings.